Welcome to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news conservatism, for it is power, the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then to the tyrant, Marxist, socialist, communist, totalitarian, Mohammedan. You just name the group: LGBTQ, RST, UV, WXYZ, add the P group, the alphabet people. Just keep adding. Yeah, all of those. We will someday liberate all of those individuals. But tonight we have a young woman who is talking with us about a very important issue. And I want to send a shout out to Mary Brockman's chat room, as she's holding down the fort there, as uh, my chief of chat. Certainly, Eric Jessup has come into the chat role. God bless you, sir. Good to see you there after a number of years. God bless you. This young woman, Alexa Dunetz, has a phenomenal responsibility. It is to plan a wedding. Now, this is not going to be, I don't know if planning a wedding is easy at any time, but certainly there are steps that you have to take in order to get married during a pandemic. And so we're going to be going over those particular things. The most important thing in order to get married, women, is that you have to have a man that will support your every decision. Am I right about that?
Sorta. I mean, generally speaking, yes, but
Mm.
there's some level of independence within a relationship that, like, we love the sweet stuff, but you don't need to put that much work into physical things. I'd rather have him come home, talk to me, tell me your day, and be able to catch up with him. Then,
Oh,
so,
I think that is so very sweet. Now, what is the first name of your fiance?
Lavey.
Oh,
Lavey.
now, how did the two of you all meet?
I was about 11 and he was 12. And we met at summer camp, a Camp Ramah, which is one of the very best of the camps that I have gone to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we met. We met on Shabbos playing trivia.
Oh, so
Yeah,
okay, this is that kooky thing. Did you know then that this was going to be the guy? Okay, or did he know then that you were going to be his gal?
I knew instantly. I told my mom,
Wow.
I called it 14 years ago.
Wow.
And mom was trying to give me that speech of there's other guys, you just broke up. It's all not, you don't marry the guy you've just met. I go,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to marry that one. And she just looks at me and goes, okay, and walks out. And now she's wrong because I'm marrying the guy.
Now, let me ask you, what was it
Yeah.
about his personality, Lavely, that attracted you? What was it about him?
It wasn't necessarily any one thing. It
Mm-hmm.
was just like, I saw how he interacted with the younger kids and was playing with them and just helping them. And if you're going to be a father to a stranger, you're going to be a damn good one for your own child.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
that
so
kind of sealed it.
the fatherhood thing, that family.
Yeah.
There you go. So, what is it about you that after all
Yeah.
these years he says that this is the thing that most attracts me to you, Alexa?
Uh, when we started dating, actually, we both had stopped doing our ADD pills, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And both of us were much more relaxed with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk about more shit
Mm-hmm.
and talk about how the Middle East is a giant disaster right now.
Yes.
And we own that because both of us feel like as a retirement place, we'd probably go to Israel.
Yeah.
Just because it's so peaceful. You walk around, you see the stars, you can hear the birds. It's just gorgeous. So
Wow.
originally that's what we were doing. Now we are thinking of postponing the um, the trip
Mm-hmm.
because right now things are going to be tight between planning a wedding and going and looking at different venues and all of that. But we'll go through the list right now. So
Okay. Well,
everyone knows that section of Michael's. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, before you get to the Michaels thing,
yeah.
first and foremost, how much planning of the wedding did you do when you were a little girl?
Like 70, 80%.
Wow.
What can I say? I'm a planner.
Awesome. Absolutely
Yeah,
awesome. Now,
yeah.
how much input do you get from him, and how much input do you get from the mother-in-laws, and which one has a more important flavor to your wedding planning?
I don't necessarily go with one opinion versus another.
Mm-hmm.
But the opinion I want is the person who's thinking about it. And I don't want to see your dress, but here are some details I like.
Oh, oh.
So
Wait a minute. Okay,
he's
he can't see your dress.
nope.
Why can't he see your dress? Shouldn't he have an opinion?
Yeah, but his mother should know him well enough to know that what his opinion is. Remember, I've also been in their house for almost 4 years every single Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Friday and Saturday, I was in their house. So Deb knows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law knows a lot. And so that's the first primary reason is I want her opinion. The secondary effect is being able to get to either her, either Lady's parents' place or my mother's place within
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes.
Why is that important?
Because the time you have is based on how much time your parents can eat and talk to each other and chit chat, do all
Oh.
of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go early breakfast or right after dinner.
I like that. I like that.
So, and it sets up your whole day too. If you've gotten one thing done,
Mm-hmm.
so much better than having nothing
Exactly.
planned, nothing done.
Now, Alexa, a lot of people right around this time of the year will be very,
Yeah,
very nervous, extremely nervous. You've been planning since you were a little girl, and you know, Mary Brockman says wedding planners make a lot of money. You understand all the caveats that are involved in the process. Um,
yeah.
so, let me ask you this: what was the first thing on your mind after you received the ring from your fiance?
Well, funny enough, we officially got engaged on his mother's 60th birthday. So we went right
Oh,
from engagement to another cake. And then back at my house, it had been my brother who graduated. I just got engaged. And so it's like, which are we starting with? Let's pick one and finish it. Like, there are like 70 problems I have. Your hair and your makeup, you can figure out. I promise. You've done
Mhm.
it for all the years. And it's
No.
also, it saves money, because if you bring in a hair person, it's going to be like $60. You bring in a nail person or a makeup person, that's going to run you another 250,
Hmm.
150 if you're tiny.
No.
So
So
that's my
so
second rule.
so the budget comes after the other stuff, or do you just like okay? Because Jeff owns a couple of oil wells down in Guyana. You know, so I know he's a multi-millionaire. So you knew Dad was going to cover everything, right?
No, I've been working on a budget. It
Hmm.
definitely grows more than it shrinks, but we've been working on it.
So, what is the average amount of money that you want to spend for a wedding? For me, I'm thinking, $25 at the Justice of Peace. Go over to Golden Corral for the buffet, and then go to Hoover Molly's and get the ice cream treat. See, that's a very good wedding. Is that a very good wedding, in your opinion? Okay, I'm missing you on the sound.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Good.
Okay. So, do you think I'm a very good wedding planner based on what I just put together for you?
I couldn't hear anything of what you planned, but having
Okay.
a plan is a
Yeah,
good thing.
I was saying that if we're going to do the wedding planning thing, the best thing to do $25 justice of the peace, then send everybody over to Golden Corral. That way they pay for their own buffet, and then you get the ice cream treat afterwards at the Hoover Mollies, out in Fort Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Is
don't
it?
know who you're talking about. I kind of live off of Hoover Mollies. I was fortunate enough to get a job right across the street from the Mollies.
Ah, ah,
And so every day on the way to the train, picked up a
ah,
picked up a cup, picked up a cone, picked up something.
ah. Oh my God. Awesome.
Yeah.
See, so you understand what I'm saying. That's a very good wedding plan, right?
I mean, it's a good plan for that, in that you have a plan, but there's about 60 rules that I have for weddings.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the first rule? Number one rule for a wedding.
Never put a deposit down on your catering hall until you are sure that they are not going to be shut down for any reason.
Really?
Because, yeah. Well,
The,
remember, this is really in a
uh-huh.
corona, in a post corona world. So a lot of the places that were nicer catering halls
Mm-hmm.
couldn't survive because no one was doing bar mitzvahs or weddings or any of the above.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing to tackle.
Exactly. So get the catering hall and make certain it's going to be open during COVID-19. That's the
Right.
number one
And
thing.
make sure it's also not being furloughed. Like,
Ooh.
you, yeah. See, here's the key. A lot of places that
Mm-hmm.
do that are known for doing one wedding at a time
Mm-hmm.
are now doing two or three at a time because they can.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Profits.
Ah.
Three
Ah.
different weddings at 25% less than their top end of their budget at the catering hall is going to end up somewhere. It's either going to end up where everything's great or it's going to end up with three very not happy brides.
Now, let me ask you this before we go to rule number two. Do you
Yes.
believe that brides go overboard, that get very anxious about these things and become dictators? Do you believe that?
I mean, I can imagine that's the case, but I really don't think that's. I think you see that more on TV than you do in person.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
it's solely because on camera, your bridesmaids aren't going to quit because they look like the idiots for
exactly.
walking out. So
So how many bridesmaids should you have at a COVID-19 wedding?
that depends how many people you're going to have at your wedding.
Okay. So
Okay, so factor for my wedding, I'm going to have about 450,
mhm.
400 for 45.
Wow. Are you gonna let me be a bridesmaid? Can I be a bridesmaid?
No, you are. This was actually the first thing I said to Levy. Do not put girls on your list, and do not put boys on my list. I know your friends; they're not always the best choice makers.
Oh, uh,
Oh man,
so
the,
for a bridesmaid, what are you looking for in terms of a bridesmaid?
in terms of plain bridesmaid, there it's really simple. You have to be at the dress fitting
Mm-hmm.
for you, and you have to be at the planning start, the planning place to get it different for all the other bridesmaids.
Mm-hmm.
Maid of honor is the only one that stands out. And the
Mm-hmm.
way I'm doing that is everyone's going in navy dresses, and they're going to have sashes
Ooh. Ooh.
that go around and bow, and that's going to be in blush. So it all looks consistent, which is a big thing. You want some consistency within the bridesmaids, because otherwise, if you start pulling people out that are getting different things, it turns into bride disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely a disaster. Because then what? Well, why'd she get that versus me?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, literally, I pulled these out of my mom's old basket of invitations.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that like where I gave someone something in the blue family because my grandmother was blue and I want her there. And I'm like, it, that's when I kind of get, I wouldn't say pissy. I don't go that far, but you may or not be getting screamed at for like the rest of the time. Because I know,
Right.
here's my thing. If I trust you, don't care. Here you go, what you do. Go run around Macy's, try and figure out where the dresses are. Oh,
Okay.
you want to go running around? Go for it.
So
Like,
let me just ask you here. You pick navy. Um, why do you pick pink or yellow or green or something like that? What? Why does color matter?
consistency.
Uh huh.
Consistency. Um, so when you stand next to all of your bridesmaids
Mm-hmm.
for the pictures after the ceremony, you don't want all the groomsmen to look the same. So they will be changing at some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted my groomsmen to be sober. Wow, that they got changed now. So now, what's
No,
rule?
if I thought for a second that the person was drunk, they'd be gone. I don't play that game. I don't play that game at all.
What's rule number two for getting married? What's the second rule?
Not everyone needs a plus one.
What's a plus
You
one?
can leave when you have an
Oh,
invitation and
uh
it's
huh.
Mr. and Mrs. blank because you don't know one of their names or they're already married,
Mm-hmm.
anything of the above. You don't want to be doing that as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that have to happen. They gotta be shaved and in tuxedos. I say that because I've seen people get so nervous that they physically were down the aisle in their tuxedo shirt, socks, and I'm assuming a pair of underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I checked, no one in my group was or is uh, ready for that. Found that appropriate. I mean, there's a certain conservativeness that you should be reaching because they have like sensors and
Uh-huh.
things, and I've had people walk through the sensor after getting the one of the weight loss surgeries. They couldn't let her through. She had too much metal in her body. Not even joking. Like, it was the most awkward 10 minutes of standing behind someone on a line ever.
Bonnie Williams has a question out of the chat roll. I'm really enjoying this conversation. She says, ask Alexa if she had people to go dress shopping with her. She said, I told no one because I did not care for their opinion, and my mom was trying to have me full Catholic mode. I guess that's with the collar thing all the way up to the neck or whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. But who went with you for this dress shopping experience?
I haven't done dress shopping yet.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you start out a year before, right?
Yeah.
That the first 2 months, you should have found your dress.
Mm.
And the people that go with you are anyone you want.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'm taking just my bridesmaids
Mm-hmm.
and
So you don't want Jeff
my
and I to come along and give you insight and wisdom?
no foxes in the chick farm. No. It always turns out awful.
Oh my God. Okay, I got one more question, and then I got to go to a break, and then I'll come back and I'll talk with you about the art of the mob, and then we're going to carry on this conversation for a couple of few weeks, because I'm really interested in the wedding planning experience for COVID-19, um,
Yeah.
and I think people should really be a little bit more practical in their thinking. Some people have these ideas that they're going to have $50,000 weddings and they're going to be able to fly away to Tahiti, and in the pandemic, that's just not necessarily going to be proper. But my final question in this segment is this
Yes.
one. Okay, when you're shopping for a dress, because I watch with Mrs. Biggs dress for, I don't know, like the
Say
dress.
yes to the dress.
Say yes to the. That's it. That's it. Okay.
No.
Now,
I'm aware that's it. I live on that show.
are you supposed to try on like 100 dresses, or do you know what dress you're looking for?
Depends on the person. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a personality that you know is very anxiety driven,
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you find one that you're in love with at the first store, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to continue. You take what's on the first level.
Yeah, but
If you
isn't that settling kind of sort of? You know, because you never know.
no,
Mm-hmm.
it's not settling at all, but you don't really have a choice
Mm-hmm.
because if that person can't handle their anxiety, they're going to have to come to multiple dresses
Exactly.
places.
Now, one
It's
last
just
question.
that's the way it is.
I am so interested in this. Really, I am. Uh, do you pick a dress and lose weight to it, or do you just pick
No,
a dress? Okay, thank you. There you go.
here's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what I tell everyone when you're tailoring anything, buy a size up because it's a lot easier to take away fabric than it is to add to it. I can't make the size 2 dress be a size 6. It's a 2. Should have bought the 6. Like,
Genius. Absolute.
You got enough stuff going on in the first year/8 months.
Yeah.
There's
Because I'm
no
sitting.
reason to add things.
Exactly. See, I'm sitting there thinking that if you don't hit that mark, you weigh 160 and you look good at 160, and you're trying to go for 140 and you order down and you don't get to 140, how disappointed you are. Uh, why even get married at that point, right?
Now you're sounding like Bridezilla's. Have you seen that show?
Yes, I've seen
No,
Bridezillas.
seriously. It's like, that to me is just trashy. It's not even like, oh, no, it's just trashy. She walks around like this kid is hers. Awful.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. And it's not even her kid. So I'm really starting to question things. I think it's her nephew now that he's getting a little older.
Exactly.
But I still have no idea. The baby just poofed out of nowhere and appeared. It
There
was
you
like,
go.
oh, cool. We've got
Ladies,
babies.
Alexa Dunetz, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring her back right after the commercial break. I've learned a whole lot in this segment. I really have. I'm looking forward to future conversations about COVID-19 marriages. And ladies, if you have ordered a size 2 dress and you know that you're size 16 and your best friend is not Richard Simmons, go back and get the right size dress. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
We'll be right
Here's the thing,
back.
you don't want to have to worry about that stress.
Exactly. Go ahead and eat as much cheesecake as you like. You'll look a lot better. You'll feel better. Life will be good. There you go. Because I'm going to be honest with you, most guys don't even remember the wedding night. We don't. Some of us weren't even sober for it.
If the bride and groom can remember the entire night in full, I
Mm-hmm.
swear they all had to take a unified drug, because there's no way
No
in my
way.
family for everyone to get on the same page.
And everyone who thinks that Jeff and I should be included in the dress shopping, when we go to this break, I want you to write that into the chat roll. Just encourage Alexa to encourage that Jeff and I go with her for dress shopping. We'll be right back right after this.
We'll see about that one.